Brad Holmes confirms what we already knew about the Detroit Lions, that they were never really in the running for Myles Garrett. Now, of course, he's going to speak GM talk. You can't really believe what you hear from a general manager, but we already knew that Brad Holmes, when it comes to making any type of splash, he is not going to do that. But not only is he not going to do anything, it doesn't look like the Cleveland Browns are trying to budge anytime soon. This is coming from Adam Schefter, spoken from Andrew Berry at the Combine today. Says Browns general manager Andrew Berry updating reporters on any potential Myles Garrett trade. Quote, "Our stance really has not changed. We're not interested in moving him," end quote. Now, there was some additional parts as well, speaking about that they are aware of the trade request, but they are basically going to hold Myles Garrett hostage. And I'm telling you that is not going to end very well for the Cleveland Browns, and that one team will be the fortunate recipient of landing a player like Myles Garrett. I don't think he is going to play for the Cleveland Browns. Now you testing my manhood. Not to say that, okay, Myles Garrett is in a contract. Yes. Could he honor that contract? Yes. But look at what he said. The Cleveland Browns are the AFC counterpart to the Detroit Lions, historically bad, and after recent years of success have fallen off a cliff with the acquisition of Deshaun Watson, the trouble that they're going to be in. Myles Garrett stated at the end of last season that there was going to be a conversation between him and the upper brass of the Cleveland Browns, and that did indeed happen. Myles was not satisfied, and a couple weeks ago went and put it known to the world that he wanted to be traded, and the Cleveland Browns will not budge. That is not going to end well, because now if you're Myles Garrett, you are now taking this personal. One thing I can say about the Detroit Lions is they honored Matthew Stafford's trade request, and not only allowing him to seek a trade and facilitate the trade, but allow him to pick where he wanted to go. So that's how you keep in a player's good graces, or you become a team that people want to go. I couldn't see a lot of people going to the Cleveland Browns if they're going to continue to hold players hostage. I understand. Just think about this. You drafted Myles Garrett because you sucked. That's why now you're picking in the top 5 again. You drafted him because you suck. At least I believe that they are. So how does that come up to the Detroit Lions? Well, I believe that Myles Garrett will be moved. He will either be moved or he will not play, because now it's just disrespect. It's not, I didn't broadside you. You saw this coming. We had a conversation. Obviously, I didn't like what I heard. Your plan did not work. I gave you the opportunity to fix it. I didn't like what I heard. And now it's time for you to move on. The Cleveland Browns did right by Zadarius Smith, but not by Myles Garrett. Now, when it comes to the Detroit Lions, Brad Holmes had his press conference today, and he did what he usually does. He didn't give a lot away, which is typical GM stuff. But at least Andrew Berry is very clear about what they want to do with Myles Garrett. It would be nice to hear Brad Holmes say, yeah, we want a guy like Myles Garrett. Just those words, even though we know that he might not be able to make it happen. But from his press conference today, Brad Holmes, I am uninspired. I feel worse than I did before he went forward when it comes to the pass rush. I have been saying this for years, and I'm going to say it again. Now's the time to turn off whatever you're listening to. If you're listening to me and something else, I want you to turn it down. Pay attention. If you're driving, pause this video, hands-free, and listen to it when you stop. Here's what I believe is going to happen. Brad Holmes has to knock it out the park, both in free agency and the draft, when it comes to the defensive line of this team. We got the guys that I'm beginning to wonder, why are we waiting so long to re-sign our guys? Like, what is that about? Brad obviously wants to bring some guys back. So when are we going to do that? The combine is literally in 2 days. It's already going on now, but the drills begin on Thursday. So what I think needs to happen this year, Brad can't move. He can't miss. He cannot miss. I was uninspired by his press conference. I actually felt worse going in than I did before. It hasn't been a great year for Lions fans after the way that we went out. I don't think that, I don't know. It's tough to, do you believe? You can't, in one facet, you can't believe him because he's a general manager, so he GM speaks. And then on the other facet, you've seen what he does. He doesn't do things like this. But he has proven me wrong before. He hadn't drafted a linebacker. Then we took one he didn't take one early. Then we took one in 2023 with Jack Campbell. He doesn't give out massive contracts. Then last year, he did. Now what we can say for a certainty is up until this point, he doesn't trade away first-round picks for players, and he does not make splashes in free agency. He talked about that the defensive line was not ignored. Okay, that may be true, but it wasn't properly addressed either. See, there's a difference between ignoring and properly addressing it. You addressed it by drafting Broderick Martin. You addressed it by signing Bruce Irvin last year. I challenge anybody, go look at the free agency and draft prospects or what we've done for the Detroit Lions. I'm going to exclude 2021 because that was an abysmal year. Let's start it in 2022. 2022, we took Hutch. We took Josh Pascal. 2021, we took Aleem McNeil, Levi Onwuzurike. So I'll give them a break because that year sucked. But I'm specifically talking about free agency. But even in 2021, I remember this specifically. Brad Holmes had 5 draft picks. We gave 1 away for Everson Griffin. We had 5 draft picks. He flipped those to 7. Out of those 7 players, we wind up getting Ife Melifonwu. We wind up getting Amon-Ra St. Brown, Derek Barnes, Penei Sewell, Levi, Aleem McNeil, Jamar Jefferson. We wind up flipping those. And some of those turned out to be really, really quality players. But properly, the phrase that I've been using for 4 years is properly addressing the defensive line. It might not, but if you don't call Marcus Davenport, okay, that's not ignoring, but is it properly addressing? Brad Holmes also said that the defense was humming going into game 3. I don't know if it was humming. We gave up 20 points and 20 points. So we gave up 40 points in 2 games. I don't know if that was humming. So let me just say this, because I think people confuse what I'm saying for emotion. They see my emotion. They don't hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. Here's what I'm saying. Brad Holmes' job is to win a Super Bowl. That is the job of every general manager in the NFL. If you use the barometer of, 31 other teams fail every year, that to me is ridiculous, because the Detroit Lions are not just any one of these 30. We are not just any old team in the National Football League. We are a 90-year-old franchise who has not been to a Super Bowl in now 59 years. 59 years. The last time when the Super Bowl was created, there wasn't a color TV. Think about how long it's been. His job is to not only turn the organization around, but to win the Super Bowl. There's nothing to it. His job is not to win 15 games. Who cares if you win 15 games? If you get put out in a divisional round by a rookie quarterback. But let me guess, a word that I heard today was attrition. See, attrition like we had last season doesn't happen every year. You know when it happened before for us? 2019. Remember 2019 when the Lions went 2-13-1. We tied a game that year. I think it was 2-13-1. Matthew Stafford, second to last year, he had back fragments that were broken. We had 20-something players on IR. TJ Hawkinson, everybody was on IR that year. See, we use the attrition as an excuse once we lost. I don't remember hearing it much when we were winning. Then all of a sudden we lose and we can't win. But what's been obvious is that the lack of a pass rusher quality opposite Aiden Hutchinson is a glaring issue. We had to, Brad Holmes' word, we had to trade for a pass rusher at the trade deadline, and Zadarius was the best of the available. We had to. If you use, I don't care what kind of fan you are. I mean, when I say that, it's with love. You can be whatever fan you want to be. If you're enjoy the ride, that's great. If you're like me, which nothing matters but winning. Nothing matters but winning. Enjoying the ride is great. Winning it all is what matters to me. Because in 60 some odd years, think about how long 60 years is. Think about the company. And this is why I said that the argument is ridiculous. If you set the barometer and say that, 31 teams fail every year. Yeah, that's true. But only 12 of those teams have never won a Super Bowl. Only 4 have never been. And as long as the Detroit Lions are in that, we are in a realm of our own. And let me remind you what you already know. Just a little brief history lesson, which you should know by heart. Every Detroit Lions fan should know this by heart. The Lions are one of 4 teams to never appear in the Super Bowl. They are the only OG team to never appear in the Super Bowl. They are the only NFC team to never appear in a Super Bowl. And until that metric has been dissolved, we are not in a group like anybody. We are in a completely different category, which is why 31 other teams fail every year is ridiculous, because 31 other teams are not in the same stratosphere as your Detroit Lions. That's it. Brad Holmes' job is to bring a Super Bowl to the city. There is no other job. That's it. At the end of the day, that's it. That's it. And until we get there, things are going to be this way. If you are a Lions fan with patience, I applaud you. I am not. I don't. And I'm young. I'm 45 years old. Like, young. I'm young, but I used to be young. I'm younger. If you are that fan, I applaud you. I am not. My patience is thin. It's thin. Just one day, I want to say we went to a Super Bowl. Just one day, I want to say we won it. The one before I die thing. We're not the only one who doesn't have one. There are 12 teams that don't have one. But until we have been and had an attempt to win one, we're in a stratosphere by ourselves. The Cleveland Browns reset when they left and came back from Baltimore. They went to the old Cleveland Browns went to Baltimore. The new Cleveland Browns came back. They reset as a franchise. The Houston Texans and Jacksonville Jaguars are 30 years old. We are three times their age. And we've never been to a Super Bowl. We ain't talking about 50 years like the Eagles, like the Minnesota Vikings. We're not talking about 50 years like the Kansas City Chiefs. We ain't never been. That is what Brad Holmes' job is. It's nothing less. I see that. Do you? You might. And it's okay if you don't, if that's not how you roll. That's how I roll. I want it all. Once we get it all, then I can relax. Losing won't hurt so bad. Or maybe ask Travis Kelce, who was devastated after his Super Bowl loss. So anyway, what did you think of Brad Holmes' press conference? How do you feel? Do you feel worse? Do you feel better? Do you feel neutral? I feel worse. Mark my words, all right? Brad Holmes has 2 seasons to get us to a Super Bowl. Here's what's going to happen. The murmuring is going to start next season if we do a lateral move or we regress. Lateral would be making it to the divisional round no matter what our record is, okay, because that's what matters. Lateral would be making it. Progression would be from previous season, which is now the 2024 season, would be making it to the NFC Championship game. Regression would be getting bounced out the wild card round. All right. If he makes the Super Bowl, the fan base will get refreshed. They'll start to raise him up. Right now, he's sinking down. The fan base would not. This is what I'm telling you what's going to happen. The fan base, not all of it, some of them will start to murmur. If we regress or make a lateral move, they will start to murmur. The murmurs will get louder if we do the same or less in 2026. That is when the fan base, the media, will begin to question, is Brad Holmes the right guy? NFL stands for not for long. You mad at me because I'm telling you. It ain't not that I don't not believe in him. I'm just telling you what I know. Just like y'all ready to move on from Jared Goff. That's how it works. If you don't deliver, you're gone. Period. That's it. So, what are your thoughts on Brad Holmes' press conference after? How do you feel? Do you feel the same? Do you feel worse? Do you feel better? I feel worse. I don't know. I have no idea. Free agency, I expect Marcus Davenport. Every whack move they can make, that's what I expect. I expect Marcus Davenport to return. I expect him to take, the draft. I don't know. He'll probably take, I have no idea. Maybe another cornerback. Maybe he does. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You can be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to be right. I was willing to humiliate myself and wear a clown suit last season, and we couldn't even do that. That's how much I wanted this team to change. And for me, 15-2 is great. Enjoying the ride. I'm still on the season ticket holder list. It's not going anywhere. Still going to be here as long as my passion is. But I'm ready to win. I want to win it all. Think about this. 15-2 meant literally nothing. We literally had nothing to show for it. You can blame it on the injuries if you want to, but eventually that's going to get old. So if he wins, he resets, buys himself more time. Just like, ask yourself this: if the Detroit Lions became the next San Francisco 49ers under Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, how would you feel? Would it be enough, or would you want more? If you were Mike Tomlin got a Super Bowl though. Think about it. Let me know. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.